Hey everybody, it's Jay from Gem Toy. Let's get back to it. Alright. Now here's a few troubleshooting ideas. One of the things I've noticed when I play with this a lot is that the pressure of the little Space Invader guy, this part, see how there's a little bit of give there? Slightly, just a little bit of give, but if that comes down just like a millimeter or two, the trigger it jams a little bit. So I've discovered that it takes another rubber band of pressure. So I'll take this off of the seat so there's no pressure at all, and then I'm going to wrap a rubber band around the guardrails, like so. Now, I'm going to bring that rubber band on top of the box, so I gotta get it up there. Move this back to where it belongs, and then just move this rubber band that holds the whole thing together. So you've seen, like, if you look at old, like, medieval crossbows, you'll see that they've wrapped the front with ropes, that they've wrapped it and wrapped it and wrapped it, and that's because there's a lot of pressure up there. Every time this bangs forward, bang, 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 it's basically pushing this thing forward each time. And so if it starts to come loose, you just need something that's going to take that. So the rubber band will take the bang and then bring everything back into place. So it's actually better than with that on there. So you can see how I've put an extra rubber band just around the box, just behind the alien guy. So now this doesn't come down at all. Like, it doesn't move a bit. So that's ideal. So now it takes 3 rubber bands, basically. You got 1 rubber band on your switch, one rubber band on the crossbow itself, and then 1 rubber band holding the box down to the guardrails. So it's very, very... And this will just work. This is good to go. Whoa. If you tilt it down, your ammo just falls out. So you've got to slightly hold it level or up, because down is like, oh, like that. But once you have it up, you can just shoot like that. Take that. Yeah. Now another thing that you may have had trouble with is the switch. If your switch comes down, it needs to be moved, and it becomes like a problem. You have to take your pin out, because the switch, its pressure comes up against the shaft. And so you have to have your switch in the correct position that I showed you when we were building this. It has to be kind of flat and on top of the trigger. So if the switch moves down because the rubber band pulls it down, you've got to just get it back to the way I showed you when we began all this adventure. So sometimes the pin will go below the trigger and you need to just use your finger, move it up, and then get that trigger under it, and you're good to go. And of course, if it's jammed or whatever, you just take off this rubber band and pull the whole thing apart. So once this is loose, this whole gun comes apart. So you can like adjust any part or anything, or fix a rubber band that's broken, because eventually the rubber band will break. So this whole thing is meant to come apart and go back together so that you can always replace the rubber bands. If you glue this thing together, it's hard to, you can do it, but it's hard to get in there and fix things. So I tend to leave the only things I glue are those 3 bits that we glued at the beginning. And then it's nice to be able to take it apart and fix it. It's so much more educational. Your kids will love tearing it apart and putting it back together and fixing it and repairing it and modding it and adjusting it. There's a lot you can do. And you can adjust the Glowforge to change its design. So there. There, that was easy. Now check out some of the prototypes that I made before I got to this final design.